My name is Libby L. Gerber. These pieces are part of a series that I have been working on for about a year and a half called The Topography of Cracks. So I've drawn actual cracks that I've seen either in structural foundations, in sidewalks, in retaining walls, things like that. And then what you see here, the lines around it look a lot like topographical lines of topographical maps, and they're sort of what I envision as the kind of imagined topography underneath that surface. So really what, for me, it's about is that place where the built environment, like the city, and then nature meet one another. So it's thinking about like what's beneath the surface and what's sort of forcing that crack to happen. So all of my work, I'm kind of interested in that place where the city and the natural elements kind of meet one another. And in this case, it's really about that kind of literal place where that happens, where the crack is starting, where nature is sort of starting to impede in on this kind of built environment we have. So it's really about that kind of give and take between, city and nature. And the other thing is, when you look at them, you don't immediately think, oh, this is a drawing of something from a city. I think initially when you look at them, they read more like a map, and you're not sure when you see the crack, is that a river, is that a mountain range? It's sort of confusing, and I like that confusion that happens when you look at them. So you're not really sure, and then when you look at them more closely, or when you read the title, I think sort of helps you realize that it's actually not a natural sort of topographical feature, but instead it's a crack in a hard surface, generally like kind of concrete or some other kind of man-made surface in that way. So that's kind of really what they're about.
My name is Larsen. What I try to do with my photography is to capture the ordinary life in extraordinary light. For instance, this piece over here, as a subject, I'm not interested in it, but as the light and what happened in that moment is extraordinary to me, and that the car with the red light behind it is only there for a moment. A fraction of a second, the light changes. So that's the kind of thing that I try to work on. This picture here, it just happened. It's 8 p.m. on the 4th of July. The sun is over here and it's casting down across here. And just for a few moments while this person is moving the wagon, and you get this shadow here, and the golden light from the sun, it just happens. I saw it, I clicked it, and that was it. And the next frame was no good. It was only one frame. Now, this picture is in Waverley Station in Edinburgh, Scotland. Once again, it's the light, because there's two different light sources here. The light that's cast down this way and the light that's cast this way gives it a particular atmosphere, but then all the figures are looking in different directions, and they each occupy their own space, so there's no overlapping. They're all in their own world, you might say. I find that going to foreign places as a photographer is exciting because everything is new and exotic. But the challenge is, for me, to have that feeling in a place where I live and walk around every day. So it's a challenge to find things that I see every day and look at in a new way.
My name is Suze Woolf. The works that I have at the Kent Summer Art Festival are mostly industrial maritime depictions of the industrial maritime. These are watercolor. It's kind of an unusual medium to be doing industrial maritime scenes with. I like watercolor because it is very rapid to get out. I can be painting in seconds or minutes. It's very portable. It's very low toxicity. And I like kind of counteracting the connotations it has of something genteel and, you know, either the sort of the 19th century tourist or florals or that kind of thing. I have a particular working method. I'll take the sheet and the board that I'm actually going to do the painting on and make a pencil outline drawing on location. And then also take photographs, sometimes do small paint sketches. But the thing that I feel is the most important is the way my eye sees the scene. And no camera is going to capture the proportions that I see or the part that my brain makes bigger or smaller. The reasons these feel, I think, more cheerful and colorful than you think of industry is because these all happen to be daytime or morning pieces. I'm a sculler. I have the calluses to prove it. So I row a lot, and I see these things often very early in the morning, like Mass and Light and Time to Get to Work are both paintings done from images that I saw rowing. Most of the work that I do clusters around either landscape, industrials is one kind of landscape. I've also, as a result of doing landscape painting in the mountains, have seen a lot of burned forests. And I started painting burned forests and I have even focused in on the fire scarring on individual trees. And then I also have painted many times the numbers on telephone poles. So to me, that's a special case of industrial landscape. But I love painting things that are sort of on the edge of your consciousness, but you don't really notice. And people tell me they now see those numbers everywhere, or that they look at cranes differently, or that they see burned trees differently. But the commonality that I often see across all these very different subject matters is a fascination with scale and pattern. Sometimes I think about these pictures as pictures of our unintentional monuments. They're our pyramids. You know, I bet you can see some of these ports from outer space, like the Great Wall of China or something. But we didn't build them as monuments. We don't think of them as somehow emblematic of our civilization, but they seem that way to me. I've come back to painting, and I like it much better. When I was younger, I used to feel like the next thing I was going to do when I was painting would wreck it, you know, and I just didn't have the courage. And so I've gotten less afraid of painting and enjoy it more.
I'm Al Trader. This was on my way back 2 years ago, almost exactly, from a family reunion. And I drove there purposely so I would have interesting things to look at when I went there and when I came back. This happened to be on the way back. I stopped in through Utah to get here. It's from Wisconsin. And I purposely had already arranged for 2 days at Bryce Canyon because I wanted to get the sunrise, and you never know about the weather. I came to Bryce Canyon and got up a little late. It was just about sunrise, dashing over to Sunrise Point, couldn't find my way, and went to Bryce Point, which is nearby and great. And everybody by then was leaving because it was cloudy. You couldn't see the sun. You knew it was brighter, but you couldn't see the sun. But I hung around. This is one of the pictures I took as people were mostly left, but I had a tripod, I set it up, waiting for the sun to break, and it did. And then I was able later to go deeper down into the viewpoint right over that part of the canyon and get another picture, which we don't have here, but it's another good one. This takes about 6 images at this level, another 6 at this level, and another 6 at this level to get enough images so that you can display the entire scene as if you were standing here, but looking from one side to the other. This is about 90, 100 degrees of width of field of view. A single image would be maybe so much. Photography started for me with something on the back of the Wheaties box that offered for 50 cents, which at that time, which is back just post World War II, it was enough money, but I had to collect it out of my allowance and send it in with a box top and got a box camera. And one selection, you clicked it. And then you saw later, after the film was developed, how it turned out.
My name is Patti Bowman. This is a painting of some reflections in the water in front of a bunch of construction. I took some pictures in Vancouver just before the Olympics when they were just doing crazy construction, and it was reflected in the water. Most of the things I paint involve some kind of combination of the city environment with some other type of environment or different types of city environments, because I like the overlapping of sort of different types of activity. So and then I put the reflections in the water and then just completely take all the context away, so you don't really know what you're looking at. I mean, I think everybody likes looking at water. I like looking at water, and it's sort of everything that we are is kind of built on access to water, right? It's like it's a substance we're most familiar with, but you don't even really know what it looks like. It looks like whatever's around it. A lot of the times I'll start out with the photograph and then scrap it like a third of the way through, and then you just work a combination from memory and a combination from the paint, like whatever. The medium is encaustic, which is, it's a really ancient medium, and it's used a lot now because a lot of abstract painters in the 50s liked it. So people started using it a lot again. And it is really, you can't make it do whatever you want to do. It's like a collaborative effort. You're gonna decide to do this, it's gonna say, no, I don't want to do that. So you'll end up doing something totally different, and then that has its own, that has its own interests and its own beauty. It's like working with a collaborator. I feel like I've done almost every kind of medium there is. I've tried everything. So this is something I've done for maybe 8-9 years. And before that, I was an oil painter, and that's a good transition. Although watercolor would be good too, it's a lot like working with watercolor. You're always working on the work of other people, and you are where you are because of what other people have done. And it's impossible now to not be influenced. You are influenced by walking from your car to the building. There's so much visual, not even just visual information, but visual human-made information, like everywhere.
My name is Ricardo Campagnoli. I'm an architect from Colombia, South America. I'm a self-taught artist, so I'm working oil and acrylic mediums and two-dimensional art, and sometimes do sculptures, but I'm right now focusing just two-dimensional oil and acrylics. And I like to experiment with these two materials, the oil and acrylic. And I use the oil and acrylic together sometimes, and sometimes I put the acrylic in the background and on top the oil, which is the way it's supposed to work. But I like to experiment doing the opposite. It's not the way you do it, because the oil and acrylics don't mix together, so that's the reason I like it. They give me, we can see here, they give us some different textures, and since the materials don't mix together, they make a really cool shapes. Sometimes I start with no idea, I start doing that, just randomly start to put some colors, and then the idea comes sometimes. And this takes a lot of time to do that, because you start to say, oh, it looks like a bull now, it looks like a horse, it looks like a lizard sometimes, and then you go from there. And sometimes I just have the idea, but still, I mean, it's a technique that you are working with something that you don't expect, I mean, something unexpected. So it's not like a fine art that you go, you see the fruits or you see the flowers and you put it in there. It's something different. I use the technique that Jackson Pollock has, the dripping technique, that I put the canvas on the ground and I just drop some painting. And it's really cool because you have, for example, you put the first layer is acrylic, and then you put that drop with oil on top, and then they do very cool shapes. So that's, sometimes you have to start all over again. Sometimes you get it the first time, but it's really difficult to do that. But, and that's the technique that I'm working on. This one is called Struggling with Steps. Yes, it's the bull, it's like a person in life moving from one place to another. It's like it's expressing what you're feeling at that time. It's like when I moved from my country to here, you're struggling with steps, you're struggling with new stuff, with new language, with new custom, when everything is a little different. It's kind of, you can see in my paintings. That's part of what I'm trying to say, something different, bring a lot of color from a tropical country, and people start to like it and say, okay, I'm gonna do more art here. So that's pretty much full-time for 8 years, and then it's a little less now because I had to combine with another careers, like I told you, architecture and landscape design, yes.
Lea Bishop. I have been doing photography for about 30 years, and I originally kind of photojournalist type photography where not highly technical, I would just go out and shoot. And now I am getting a little more technical on the computer and doing digital and doing things like these, which this one is a high dynamic range photo. This one has some filtering that happened with it. So that's been fun doing on canvas. This is some of the first stuff I've been doing, printing on canvas, and it gives it a very painterly quality, so it doesn't look so much like a photo. And a lot of my photos are done when I travel, because that's one of my big passions is traveling. Just got back from a trip to Italy. Took 1,200 photos, so I've been working on editing those and getting down to some really nice photos that I can use. It takes a lot to find that perfect photo. I take photos locally. This one was done on the Rogue River at St. Gray's Cabin, and this one was in Enumclaw where I live, and it was a morning when we had a very heavy frost, and I just got in the car and went out and started taking pictures. This I really liked because of the structure of the cabin was very cool, and it lent itself to the depth to do with HDR. And then this one, it was just a super day for when sometimes fog works really well and sometimes it doesn't, but this was a day where everything was just so crisp and beautiful in the fog. This is what I do, is photography. Don't ask me to draw something.
The exhibit is free and runs from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Centennial Center Gallery is located at 400 West Gow Street, next to Kent City Hall. Sponsored by Kent Arts Commission.